Hello, friends and family from around the world. This is Mike with the Morning Dew, daily events worldwide, and we are on June 10th, 2021. Welcome to another surviving day on the planet, and welcome to the Daily Dew, where we look at space weather, world weather, everything else affecting humanity. And we've got a special edition here today looking at the sun. A lot of imagery of the sun, as SDO will be down for the next couple days as they are going to be doing some upgrading. Looking here, the last 48 hours incoming imagery. We did have another couple CMEs that the sun has shot out, as well, observing that last large flare here, outgoing images. And the sun did end up reacting antipode region, and as well the northwestern region. Look at that. So that's about 1, 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 events just in the past 48 hours. The multi-spectrum light really lets you see what's going on and what it can affect and how large it is. Looking here, 511 angstroms, you can see where the coronal holes are. So we do have a developing coronal hole southern region, but it is growing to equatorial. And you can see that is just ahead of the southwestern region sunspot. I want to take this time to personally thank each and every one of you for subscribing to Morning Dew, daily events worldwide, keeping humanity aware and prepared to our ever-changing planet. I also want to give a shout out to all of the mods, Dew crew members. Lurkface, thanks for all of your shares and your input. Dan Falcone, thank you for your friendship and as well all of the information. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, SVR. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, everyone. And as well, I want to thank all of the people who have decided to become a member. I really appreciate your support and the love for the channel's productions and research. I do put a lot of time and love, passion into my work. So some amazing imagery here of the sun, while I wanted to thank everybody. Are we awake now? The sun says yes. Looking here, LASCO 2 images from pretty much the 6th. June 5th. The day before the Mercury Retrograde. And you could see a little bit of action just before the 6th, and then pretty much from the 6th on, the sun has been lit up, electrifying. So luckily, none of these events were in an Earth-facing direction. And I really wanted to share these last few images of the sun before SDO goes down. And as well, a nice slow look at that large solar flare that popped off our sun. Massive plasma involved in that. Looking at a real-time solar wind for today, we're sitting at about 347 kilometers per second. A little bit jagged wind stream right now. And as well, you can see the density is increasing right now, just in the past few hours. So definitely going to be keeping an eye on that, as we are expecting some space weather in the next couple days. Most likely just going to graze underneath Earth. But you can see on the right-hand side there, we are the yellow dot. Solar X-ray flux remains low. Geomagnetic activity remains low. Looking here at the NOAA Space Prediction Center, and they're not showing that large event just yet I'm not sure if this is the actual plasma stream ahead of the green dot, which is Earth, on this particular diagram. You can see that big blob of energy heading right towards Earth. So that's going to be on the 11th and the 12th. Looking at our Schumann resonance for today, a power of 27. Still a bit jagged, excitable, and under a lot of pressure, I believe. I'm still feeling it in my head. Looking at base frequency of 7.8. Looking at earthquakes the last 24 hours, we're going to start out with the largest and most recent. 5.6 here reported, 10 kilometer depth, Costa Rica. So Central America and South America have been on watch the last 24 hours, as noted in yesterday's video. And here we are, but shallow. As well, Guatemala seeing a 4.2 here at a 78 kilometer depth. Lots of activity through the Caribbean. So this is probably where all the energy is going, towards the subduction zone right now. The Valley, Anguilla, 4.1, and as well a 3.9. Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, they are a-rockin' right now. One lonely earthquake to report here, 2.7, White City, New Mexico. Largest earthquake today, California, 3.0. Ocotillo Wells, 2.6 there, north towards the geysers. But across North America, a lot of minor earthquakes, and you can see that activity is moving up towards the Canadian border. Montana, a lot of microquakes, and talking about minor explosions. Lots of activity around geysers, lakes, rivers, fault lines. Looking at some minor earthquakes here, Lake Tahoe today. As well as some minor earthquakes to report. Northern California here, Lakeshore, California, Chester. As well, some minor earthquakes through Salt Lake in Utah. So heads up, my friends and family. A lot of activity is moving towards this way. As well, look at this, a 4.8 to report in Canada, in Mercury, Quebec, northern, desolate, remote area of Quebec. As well, looking at the west coast here, not much activity since the Port Hardy earthquakes. Nothing major to report except for the 4.8 there in northern Quebec. Hawaii here, they're seeing earthquakes right on top of Kilauea right now. Lots of minor spread out earthquakes here through Alaska and the Aleutian Islands. Like, there are thousands. They're not all here, but there are thousands of small earthquakes through Alaska right now. 4.6 here to report in Japan. Two of them. One at a 69 kilometer depth. 4.1 there, Taiwan from yesterday. 5.1 here to report in Lanquan, China, 10 kilometer depth. As well, a 5.1 here to report western Indonesia, 67 kilometer depth. So northwest of Krakatoa. And as well, a 4.9 here to report Philippines, 79 kilometer depth. And then let's get to the Fiji region where we expect these deep earthquakes. 4.4 there, 289. Here's the 585 from yesterday, 4.5. And then only a 379 here today. Kermadec Islands, 4.4 magnitude. Now, the deep earthquake today was, believe it or not, South America, 4.4, El Hoya, Argentina, 570 kilometer depth. And I haven't seen an earthquake that deep in South America in quite some time. As well, activity here through Africa, Republic of the Congo, 5.0 to report. 3.8 4.8 here in Kazakhstan, and as well a 4.5 or 4.0 here in Germ, Afghanistan, pretty deep, 238 kilometer depth. And that's the last 24 hours for earthquakes. Pretty active planet, but to be expected. As forewarned, from the 6th to the 14th, Mercury Retrograde, and as well Solar Eclipse. And just the amount of tectonic shifting that is happening across the planet right now, we are expecting something big. And when you've got surprise buoys going into event mode in the Pacific, you got to wonder what's up or what's coming up. That's the last 7 days for earthquakes across the planet. Looking like a pin cushion right now. Lots of 4s and 5s. Let's have a look at the Pacific Disaster Center, as there are a lot of storms and flood conditions growing across North America, looking at tornado warnings through Bismarck, North Dakota, and as well that's encroaching westward. Flood conditions across most of the southeastern and northeastern United States right now, except for small drought conditions in parts of South Carolina. But Washington, D.C. seeing floods, as well the Mississippi, and fire and drought conditions westward. Looking at storms through Guyana, flooding conditions there as well. Encroaching daily evaporation rains as things heat up. Flooding and storm conditions through southeastern Australia and as well New Zealand. Continuing flooding conditions through the monsoon season area. Southeast Asia. India. Let's have a look at the most recent volcanoes to update. Looking at Reventador in Ecuador, Semeru, Indonesia, Luwatolo, Indonesia, Fuego, and as well Sabancaya, Sangay, Nevados de Chilian, Nyiragongo, and as well Ibu. So that's about 9 volcanoes getting updated today. Quiet volcano day. It seems that Iceland is taking all the lava right now. Hot and stormy conditions across South America and fiery conditions across Africa. Let's have a look at the 5-day forecast brought to you by Meteor Earth and as well Morning Dew Daily Events Worldwide. Starting out here, home base Calgary, Alberta. We had some rain move in today from the south and some cool temperatures are going to move in behind that for a day or so. Look at that higher elevation, cool temperatures still hanging out in the foothills. But watch for things to warm up in the next couple days here for Alberta. Low pressure system there off the coast, not really going anywhere, is going to keep fueling up that warm equatorial moisture. Love it. But still, the cool temperatures, big high pressure ridge there getting squeezed. Rainy conditions here for parts of Vancouver and Oregon coastline. As for the next 5 days, that low pressure system will be spinning there. And then, definitely warming up across the Pacific Northwest and up into Alberta. Across Canada, essentially, but extreme heat conditions here. Parts of Eastern California and Arizona up into Utah. So, things are heating up across the American plate right now. Low pressure system here affecting southeastern United States this week, and as well small clipper affecting Ontario. And then watch for this small low pressure system here to head into Atlantic Canada. And then overlooking the Gulf, we definitely do have a pretty large developing low through Mexico shoreline right now that is going to be making it across Mexico into the Gulf here with this 5-day forecast. There are a couple other models out there that are predicting a Category 2 tropical depression for the Gulf in the long-range forecast. And this forecast shows at least a 20% possibility, and I'm pretty sure DEW crew member Dan Falcone would agree. Overlooking Europe, we've got big low-pressure system, waves from a large low-pressure system in northeastern Europe that are going to be sweeping across the nation, and as well going to develop a high there in the long range, and then develop a low here through Turkey. So yeah, interesting transition through Europe as well. Could see big systems developing in the long range. As well, look at Ireland and as well the United Kingdom. You've got a pretty vigorous, tightly whipped low pressure system heading your way, and you can see a lot of snow there falling in Iceland. Overlooking Southeast Asia, India, two pretty intense low pressure systems affecting China and as well westward into India, as the stormy conditions I showed in the Pacific Disaster Center. And please, everybody, just get that up. You will be updated just as quickly as I am. Looking at the 5-day forecast, still very intense and drenched low pressure system here heading into India, drawing long lines of moisture even off the western shores. Amazing. Overlooking Australia, and you do have a low pressure system here in the long range that will be heading back into parts of southeastern Australia, and that could be a developing bad situation for Australia. We're going to have to keep an eye on that one for sure, bringing about some very cool temperatures. Almost the same scenario as the last low pressure system that came through. Same area. Overlooking New Zealand, stormy and rainy, windy conditions throughout the week here. Overlooking the Pacific, no major weather changes there. Still a big, dominant, high-pressure ridge in the Pacific right now. Nothing seems to be moving it out of its position. These low-pressure systems are just thwarted right around it. Watch for a pretty intense one to head towards Alaska in the long-range forecast here. Expect an uptick in seismicity. Overlooking South America, heavy rains through Venezuela, Colombia, and as well Panama. Cold temperatures stretching northward as far as Bolivia. And then watching here in the southern hemisphere, we're going to take another look at that big beast of a storm. Overlooking Africa, no major weather systems affecting you, except for the forecasted low that I was talking about yesterday. Looks like this low pressure system is going to break into two, and Cape Town, South Africa will at least get hit by one of them here, so you do have some moisture coming here in the long range forecast. Could have some high tide and some strong winds associated with that. Going to leave you here looking at the southern hemisphere versus the northern, looking at one of the largest low pressure systems I've ever seen and documented on this app. I'm surprised it can even generate it. But it's literally eating up every other low pressure system that is around it. And if that continues to do what it's doing, we've got a serious problem on this planet. Looking at very vigorous, deep lower level trough systems, trying to battle strong highs. Much love and prayers for humanity. Thanks for watching today. This has been Mike with Morning Dew. Daily events worldwide. Stay aware and prepared. Stay young and have fun. And get your morning dew. Bye-bye now. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button, subscribe, share with your friends and family from across the world.